Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this hypnosis session you're going to be listening to a hypnosis that is all about intrusive thoughts, particularly thoughts connected to anxiety and past events, but also doubts as well. And I was working with a client that had a lot of intrusive thoughts, and those intrusive thoughts were spiraling into emotions like anxiety, and that anxiety was then causing more intrusive thoughts. And what you're going to hear in this particular session is a lot of metaphor to help frame the thoughts as something that they're in control of, but also that sometimes thoughts are useful, they're messengers for really important, useful information. There's also elements of boundary setting, and the particular client that I was working with had thoughts related to their past, but that past events had already been expressed, communicated, acknowledged, forgiven. The slate was already wiped clean, but they were the ones bringing these thoughts back. And therefore you're going to hear two metaphors of fortress walls, not just walls or fences, but fortress walls, because that's perceived to be impenetrable. So that any thought that comes up from a past, if it's before two certain timelines, each representing this fortress wall, then it doesn't get to infect their future. I would say this is going to be really useful for someone that is haunting themselves with thoughts connected to past events, or tends to have a lot of overthinking or intrusive thoughts that are tied to very intense, unuseful or unpleasant emotions, because a lot of these metaphors will work for whoever you are. There is a reference here to a proposal. That's because the client had proposed to their partner, and that represents the timeline of the closest fortress wall. It's unlikely that you've had a recent proposal, and therefore you could ignore that suggestion, but that's why it's included in this particular session. Obviously, the nature of this session is that it's all about reducing intrusive thoughts, dialing down anxiety, but it was created for a very specific individual in very specific circumstances. And on that basis, if you feel that you would benefit from a more tailored, bespoke session specific to your needs, there will be a link in the description in the show notes where you can schedule a completely free consultation call to explore working with me. And there's also some other resources there as well, like a suitability test, some free downloads, and even a free 7-day course. But in order to get the best out of this session, I would encourage you to find a quiet, comfortable place, ideally in a kind of environment where you're not going to be disturbed or interrupted, and just relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of stress and tension to feel like they're slowly leaving your body in your outward breath. Breathing in, and on the next outward breath, just allow your eyelids to completely relax. And notice with your eyes closed how much easier it is to focus on the sound of my voice as you continue to breathe in for deeper and exhale for longer. That's it. As you breathe in and breathe out, maybe feel your shoulders drop. Any muscles around your jaw start to loosen. And give permission for your mind just beginning to drift. In through the nose and out through the nose. That's it. Releasing tension, just like mist dissolving. And I want you to become aware of your feet. Just notice them. Maybe if they're connected to the ground, just feel that sensation of weight. Feeling safe, supported, anchored. And that sense of support spreads upwards from your feet, through your calves, into your thighs and your hips. Each breath out, a signal that right now, in this moment, you have full permission to just let go. And so your back relaxes, the muscles in your chest soften. Anything around your neck, your shoulders, just melts away any tension as your attention begins to drift inwards. That's right. Breathing in relaxation, exhaling tension. And the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you become. And the more relaxed you become, the deeper you breathe. Each breath takes you deeper and deeper relaxed. And as your body relaxes, your imagination awakens. That's it. And I want you to get a sense that sometimes the mind can feel like it's on high alert, like a radar searching for threats. But I want you to get a sense that right now, there are no threats. Only peace, only stillness. I want you to get a sense that in a state of emergency, it makes sense to be on high alert. But why would you be on high alert if now was the time to let everything dial down? And I want you to imagine a switchboard or a control room in your mind with many dials and buttons. And I want you to see a particular button or dial labeled alert level. And I want you to imagine your hand reaching out and gently turning it down from red alert to amber, from amber to yellow, and then all the way down to a soft green. I want you to get a sense that your body is responding to this change in alert level. And what if all of these recent high alert feelings were linked to a particular life decision that you made, to make sure that you were ready to make that decision? But now you've made that decision, the high alert is no longer needed, and just feel that it's dialed all the way down. Allow your body to feel safe and allow your mind to feel relaxed. And in the timeline of your life, there is a powerful moment, like a line drawn in the sand. I want you to visualize the moment you proposed and the moment they said yes. And I want you to get a sense that as you observe that, you get a sense that in that moment, something shifted. Rewind it and now replay it from a first person perspective. Feel like you're back in your body in that moment and hearing the words of affirmation that it was accepted. And I want you to physically feel something shift. I want you to get a sense that it wasn't just a proposal. I want you to perceive it as a moment of acceptance, a vow of forgiveness, and a declaration of trust. And by it being acceptance, forgiveness, and trust, it then builds a fortress wall, protecting you from your past. And beyond that fortress wall, imagine another fortress wall where you were explicitly told not everything needs to be shared. Some things are just for you to deal with. And I want you to feel that your relationship is now protected by those two large, impenetrable fortress walls. And I want you to get a sense that that moment of acceptance, forgiveness, and trust was not just of who you are now, but everything you've been through, and also everywhere you're going together. So from this moment on, I want you to choose to feel that you've crossed that line and you are on the safe side of those two fortress walls. Everything before that line and those walls are in the past, and everything after is your future. A clean slate, a sacred contract, a peaceful mind. Now I want you to imagine a tiny zoo with tiny creatures, strange creatures. Maybe they look like little monsters or aliens. But I want you to create an idea, a new way of thinking, that every thought is like a little creature. Some are light and playful, some are curious, some are helpful, and some are loud and intrusive, aggressive, and not well-intentioned. But here's something you should know about these little creatures. These creatures can only grow if they are fed. And what feeds them? Attention and emotion, and sometimes the intensity of your reaction. But you are not a creature like them. You are the keeper of the creatures. You are in control now, and you get to decide which thoughts get your attention, and you get to decide which emotions you give away. You get to decide what grows and what fades. Or perhaps you could think of a garden with both flowers and weeds. If you fed the weeds and starved the flowers, your garden would be a horrible garden filled with weeds. But instead, you nurture the flowers and you remove the weeds. And I want you to think of your relationship as that beautiful garden. You are nurturing what you want to keep, and you are removing or ignoring what does not belong there. And I want you to get a sense that sometimes those persistent, repeating thoughts, especially the ones you didn't invite in, what if they aren't enemies? A plague of thoughts harassing you. I want you to think of them as messengers. What if these recurring thoughts looked like something else on the outside, but had something valuable on the inside? Like a valuable gift in Pass the Parcel, or something helpful inside a Trojan horse. And they may arrive in an uncomfortable or perhaps unusual form, but inside is something valuable. And you know that to be true because every intrusive thought of your past had something valuable to offer you. Maybe it was a lesson. Maybe it was an opportunity to demonstrate a sense of reassurance or growth or progress. Maybe a boundary. Maybe it's to avoid something undesirable happening in the future. Or maybe a reminder of what truly matters. So next time that recurring intrusive thought appears, instead of fighting it like an enemy, or feeling like you have to share something that perhaps someone else doesn't want to hear, you don't feed it, but you do notice it. Like watching a cloud pass in the sky, or leaves floating on a stream. But if the same cloud comes back time after time, and the same leaf almost seems to fall back on the stream in the same way, you can simply ask yourself, or even ask the thought, what are you here to teach me? What lesson are you offering? And then you thank it and let it pass. And you don't need to decode every intrusive thought, because that's giving it attention and emotion. But you can be curious, and don't be surprised if every now and then you find a nugget of gold inside something that was innocuous or perhaps even undesirable. And you can be grateful for these insights and lessons. And the moment you extract wisdom or something valuable from a thought, the need for the recurring thought immediately vanishes, and the cloud does not reappear, and the stream does not reappear with the leaf in the same place. And I want you to think about your future now. I want you to see yourself on your wedding day, and I want you to see the expression that you would most want on that day. I want you to get a sense of how you're looking, how you're moving. And there may be some nerves or jitters, but I want you to see that the dominant emotion is something wonderful and positive. And then go further into the future, maybe a few years from now. You could imagine seeing yourself waking up beside your partner, safe and loved. I want you to see those shared smiles, plans not just made but experienced. I want you to see that that kind of love grows stronger with time. And I want you to step into any one of those moments to know that it's true. That the more you think about what you want, the more you increase the probability of manifesting that future. And what if from now onwards, instead of feeding the thoughts that you didn't want, more and more often you feed the thoughts that you do? That's it, creating wonderful self-fulfilling prophecies. I want you to get a sense that you can in advance feel the joy of the life you are choosing. Any of those echoes or ghosts from the past can never get through those 2 fortress walls. This is a future built on trust, forgiveness, and new beginnings. And each day forward, you feed only the thoughts that deserve your energy, are useful or helpful. And you water only the seeds of peace, love, and clarity. Any of those thoughts that are weeds, feel that you can just pluck them and throw them away. And that line in the sand, those fortress walls, never move. And anytime you need to, you can look back at it, not to return, but to remind yourself how far you've come. You are not your past, but you are wiser for it. You've chosen love, you've chosen peace, and you've chosen to be the gardener of your mind. I want you to get a sense that you now have tools, ways of thinking, but more importantly, think back to that dial. No need for high alert. You are safely protected by those fortress walls. Now is the safe time, the calm time, the peaceful time. No need for vigilance, no need for high alert, no need for panic. Start to feel good and aligned. That's it. Very soon I will count from 1 to 10 and you will return back to the here and now. So firstly, take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Start to connect and calibrate into the here and the now. That's it. And now I'll count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling calm, refreshed, connected, with new ways of thinking about how to think. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.